the time. They tell you they've killed hundreds of people and they can
Ragamuffin mercs that were off the beaten path of the original like units and such. And guys wearing makeup, and remember that's how they were on it. Like we are becoming that society. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap with Bill, Shy, Scooby, and Mac. And we are going to discuss serial killers yet again, Serial Killers Part 2. And we're going to get a little bit more deeper into things that we didn't get a chance to get into before. And this is like well, I won't get into that, but I'll just say this is an early present, and I'll stop it there because we got something to say here in a little bit. Scoob.
Make sure y'all get tuned in and tapped into all the social medias. I'm at Scooby the Kid 252, at Chef Mac 1523, at Oso Shy 11, at Bill_Perry, and at Bridge the Gap 77. Get tuned in.
How is everybody doing this week? We're gonna start. First off, we're gonna start with saying happy birthday to
That's
Shy.
what I was saving.
thank
Happy
you.
birthday to Shy. Happy birthday to Shy. Happy birthday. And I already said Shy. Happy birthday to Shy. Shy. Yes, happy birthday to Shy. Indeed.
Oh, I love that.
Indeed.
Golly,
We
you guys
didn't
are
have no
wonderful.
presents on deck, but just to let y'all know I wasn't a
that
bad
was
brother.
wonderful.
I hooked her
That
up with
was really
presents and
nice.
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to hook, get the little toys like we did for Hunter that time, so you can have you some things. Hunter still got his stuff posted up,
I
man.
really do. I have it sitting on my desk all the time.
That's what's
Cute.
up.
I like that.
But indeed, happy birthday, sis.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you both.
And I
appreciate
guess,
it.
like you just said, with that said, we'll start with you with the wellness.
Oh, well, I guess you guys can see I'm doing very well. I'm happy to see another year, be with my family, and be with friends. And it was a lot of love this weekend that I'm very grateful and thankful for.
All right. And I'm doing very well myself. I'm coming closer to the end of this film project of mine and looking at the very end, finally. And hopefully should be in post-production mode coming up at the end of this particular week. And I'm feeling great. I'm feeling high-spirited.
I'm feeling good too. You see, we're shooting this on a Monday. Ain't got no beer. Trying to be a little bit more healthy, eat better, take care of my body, have that natural energy.
That's what's up.
Doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm glad it's getting cold again. The other past couple of nights has been like a beautiful night. I've been sitting outside with my camera taking pictures of the sky, taking some pictures of the moon. It's been really fun.
Yeah, you got pictures of the moon, Venus, and all this
And
next to it,
Mars,
and
yeah.
Mars. Some great photos. Maybe, hopefully, you can post it up.
Yeah, hopefully I put a couple up. Depends on future me what I'm doing. I do want to say one last thing is that we forgot your birthday. Nobody really cares about you though.
It's cool though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It was way back in March.
yeah.
We
it's
did
all good.
post something on Facebook.
I was gonna
page,
say
though.
if we
yeah.
posted up on the BTG page about it. At least, we just didn't make a
Yeah.
big show or whatever
And if you
about
don't
it.
follow the Bridging the Gap Facebook page, why don't you go do that right now?
Oh, and by the way, we are getting into election season, so all of you, exercise your right to vote out there, and get down with your civic duty and get down with the democratic process. And just as another side note, would like to extend our, I don't know how you would phrase this,
Prayers, kinda hopes
whatever have
for-
you, for the president and his family, who has contracted the
tested positive,
COVID-19. Has tested positive. So, all partisan politics and all that aside, which we don't exercise that here on the show, but just wanted to just say that much there, and because it's that serious out here, COVID-19 doesn't give a damn about all that. And at least we still continue with our crap about what we have against each other when one of us contract this. It's deeper than that. Even Vice President Joe Biden showed enough class to extend his well wishes to the family and everything. So there it is. All right.
Yeah, it's good to see, people looking past political views and just, making sure he's all right. You know what I'm saying?
He's human at the end of the day.
you
I mean, all the other things, we can get back and all to that song and dance when it's time to. But at the moment, that's what's important.
It shows that we all have empathy for other people, unlike serial killers.
Hey, look at Hunter with the segue. Indeed, very good. Yeah, these guys, lack empathy. They lack the components to understand what, or maybe they do clearly understand in some cases what they're doing, but like not having that remorse factor, that empathy to understand they're doing this to another life, another human being like themselves. And we're going to try to dive into that understanding of the mind of the serial killer. And you know, but we're going to do some other components we were talking about earlier today too. We're going to make it a little bit more, it's funny to say it like this, but a little bit more fun. By talking about movies and the like, horror movies, but not really putting too much emphasis on it. I'll open the gate with that, okay? Michael Myers, since we're approaching Halloween. And Michael Myers, as far as like, you know, the character in the movie Halloween is considered like the forefather of that type of slasher killer film, you know, genre. So, you know, but he brings about that serial killer thing, you know, the stalking aspect of it, the ambiguity of his presence, how he's like, you know, and he's also ominous, like he's everywhere but nowhere.
And
And
he killed his family.
and yeah, and his whole premise was, and that was the thing, like a serial killer, there was a premeditated motive there. You know, it wasn't just whimsical and just decided, hey, I'm going to kill 19, 20 people, like, say, the postal level. And, you know, and oh my gosh, that just made me think of something. And it just made me think of something you said earlier, Shai. And I hate to do this to us, y'all, but I'm almost kind of going to trip us with this. It's saying what I just said, the postal worker, right, that goes postal, as they say, and kills all of his people. Does he fall under that? Because, say, if a postal person kills 10 people in one slaying, do they fall under the same banner because
Or
they didn't
mass
methodical?
murder. Okay,
Or
Bill-
that's mass murderer. There it is. There it is.
Was the person who bombed the tower serial killer?
Well, no, I think Shai just said it,
Mass
mass
murder,
murder. Yeah, I didn't even think about that definition because I was about to say, would they be serious? No, I don't have to go there. But, you know, the idea of what Michael
guess-
Myers did, you know.
Yeah.
You should classify a serial killer who kills on multiple occasions, whereas a mass murderer would be
A bunch
a
of people,
bunch of
on,
people
one
on
occasion.
one day.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
even with the term serial killer, like I think, Shai, you say it was like 3 or more, I believe. There's a certain number where they
think
start
so.
applying. And then it gets slippery because I think they also look at the same type of way of operating. You know, like, you know, if you're a killer who you strangle somebody one day, you stab somebody another day, and then you shot somebody another day, it becomes a little bit harder to define you as a serial killer
Yeah.
because you're
Because
not
they're gonna think it's from different people.
right. You know, the way that you killed everyone was so
Because most
out
of
there.
the time, they fit the profile of the killer is strangulation. That's in their profile. Which
then
I'm
you
sure
have
you
some-
know about because you did abnormal psychology.
Yeah, and just like say with Dahmer, right? You know, Dahmer did kill in a multitude of ways, but his operation, his modus operandi, as it were, his way of operating, he lured them to his home.
Yeah.
And then once he got them in the home, you know, he drilled it there in their head, he stabbed, poisoned them or whatever. I think
Just
initially.
battery acid.
Yeah,
didn't
just
they?
all kind of stuff. And then with the dead body, I think he put him in like, you know, what you call it, the big, you know, the big vat things and stuff. You can put like, you know, toxic waste and stuff like that in.
Drum barrel.
Yeah, drum barrel. Yeah, he had like drum barrels, and I think it was like of like thing like acid soul would, you know, melt the, you know,
Melt
eat
the
the
skin,
bones. Yeah, skin rather. Yeah, and meat and all that off the body and stuff. You know, but that's what I'm saying. Like he was doing all that. Like that was a part of his methodology in his home.
Yeah.
But you know, his way of actually getting his victims, you know what I'm saying? And but he did have a method of acquiring his victims, and I think that also ran into the serial killer pattern. Like people that like those guys that killed on the highway, they would, you know, back in the 70s, you know, a couple of guys did this, but they would, you know, get women, kill them somewhere, and then dump their bodies on the highway.
Yeah.
They didn't actually kill them on the highway, but they were known as the highway killers because that's where the bodies were always found. But they would like kill them in the woods or kill them somewhere or another, but they dumped the bodies on the highway. You know what I'm
So-
saying?
I'm gonna pose a question, something that it's kind of a touchy subject, especially in America. And I showed them a video earlier, and I think we kind of touched on it, but I don't remember, so I'm gonna ask again. Would you consider a soldier a serial killer?
Oh, we have talked about that one of the episodes and stuff. I can't remember which one, but yeah, we was talking about the idea of the method in
I
which
think that was a psychology one. Actually.
yeah, like because we was talking about the mind of a soldier and like, you know, what, you know, I think we was talking about the coming home aspect, like when a soldier comes home from killing a lot of, you know, enemies,
Yeah.
he's applauded and so on, but that same methodology would be a serial killer. if he went around and especially like those guys that did the up close and personal type kills, like special op type guys
I'm
that
not
may have
so
sliced guys'
sure.
throats and stuff like this and did these kinds of murders.
But
You know what
they
I'm
didn't
saying?
set out if,
I
if
guess
they're on the,
it's
they
not
were,
premeditated, like you said.
But you
earlier.
have to put yourself in a certain mind state to do that. I would imagine that all of us can agree that someone can't simply tell you, for the sake of say American freedom, I want you to, shoot this guy to death.
But would that be a serial killer? Because I have to. Oh, let me go back real quick. I have to read the definition. I wanted to show you.
No, I wouldn't say. Let me just say this real clearly. Like I think we said on that show, we do not think that soldiers are serial killers. What I'm getting to is like the psychology of
It says the abnormal psychological gratification.
gratification.
Yeah, and see,
Yeah.
they're not gratified from killing.
I ain't gonna, I mean,
Okay, what about the guy with the most sniper kills?
Yeah,
Wasn't there gratification for him?
Yo,
I mean, he's probably like, yeah, I'm a great sniper.
Yeah,
like,
But
have
that
you-
entails
okay,
killing
yo,
people.
we've all seen,
You know what I
we've all
mean?
seen Full Metal Jacket, right?
Yes,
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 but have
yes.
you
Yo, them folks was like, they had the dead body sitting beside them. They was ready to kill about it. They was like, we killers. You know what I'm saying? We killers.
And then you had guys
but
that would
then-
like cut off their victims like ears and make medallions and necklaces out of them
That's
and
kind
shit.
of, that seems gratifying to me. You know,
Yeah,
You know what I
I feel
mean?
like out
But
of
have
the
you seen
percentage.
Have you seen American Sniper?
I haven't seen the movie, no.
So
I know
basic-
the story of the guy to some degree.
Essentially, I'm blanking on the name, but there's this one scene in the movie, and it's a very interesting scene because he's got the sniper and he just shot somebody about to blow up a convoy.
Mm.
Well, United States military is anybody who picks up a weapon and aims it at a friendly is automatically a combatant. Well, this little I can assume 10-year-old girl runs up and picks up the RPG and like plays around, and like you can see him, he's about to pull the trigger because she's got that aimed at his men, and then she drops it. And like you could see the relief in his eyes, like I did not have to kill that person today, you know.
Yeah.
But there are people like in Full Metal Jacket, yes.
And see, with Full Metal Jacket, if I remember right, wasn't that the one where that guy, dude kept picking on him a lot, and then he eventually just cracked, and he was the one that ended up blowing himself away, but he
That's
became like
savage.
that super crazy soldier that he wanted out of him.
Yep.
But that push to be that kind of a soldier, because the kind of climate he was in, he couldn't be a chump.
Exactly.
For all intents and purposes, and that's kind of what sucks about warfare is that you have to be put in an animalistic mind state.
Yeah.
You can't. No, that's no longer your fellow human. That is the object of your possible doom. If you slip, that may be the person that ends you. So you must look at him. You know what I'm saying? Like it. Whereas like a serial killer is observing his kill or the potential kill, casing
they're
the place
predators.
and predators.
Let's take it to a
That's
place
a good word.
that we kind of talked about last week. Is like, what about Hitler? Is Hitler a serial killer?
Hitler was a mass murdering genocidal maniac. Like there's a
But he
couple of
mass murdered
hyphenates.
on-
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and serial killing being that, like, no, he was not hands on.
True.
But then here's the kicker: nor was Charles Manson.
True.
But he's a serial killer, or he's in the pantheons of serial killing history.
So what about, all right, so like, you know,
And he pulled a Hitler where he made other people do his bidding.
like a lead mafia boss, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, got hitman.
Or actually, there is a hitman. You ever heard of Iceman?
Oh, yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah.
No, the real guy though. There's
Oh,
real
yeah,
interviews of the
fact.
real
I
man.
haven't seen those,
He had some
no.
of the scariest interviews ever. Just his nonchalantness about murder.
Really?
But he killed for the mob.
That's
And
wild.
a lot of other things that he doesn't talk about, and it could be government for all we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A guy of his level,
Yeah,
I can see some government officials pulling him off to the side for something that doesn't need to be on TV, but they need it to happen. Like Lee, calling people like that, like, we need this to happen, but on the DL. You know what
So
I'm saying?
that raises another question though. His motive isn't the enjoyment of killing. His motive is pay. Like, would you say an assassin is a serial killer?
Okay, why do you get into that line of work?
Yeah.
Why do you want to kill?
For the most
Because you
part,
could be a sharpshooter. There's all kind of ways to make something of your life with that skill, a marksman, and all these other kind of ways. You can make some of that skill that's legit that people applaud. Even people that are not gun nuts can applaud someone who's a great marksman and such. But, if your intent is to kill for hire, that means that every person is a potential mark if the price is right. Even your baby.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm serious.
If you love money, yeah, like
Dude, one of the scariest things that happened on TV back when Geraldo Rivera was on there, he had a show with assassins, and back when they would color up their voices with that robotic shit, and they were wearing black. And one of the guys that was on there, he was this really big buff thing, and this woman got up. She just really got pissed off. You know, they would let the audience speak to the people back then, and he ran out in the audience to get the woman's thing. And how is your shame of you? Why would you do that? Dude just leapt up and was like, for the right price, I would kill you, your mama, your baby. He said, baby. Everybody paused when he said that.
Yeah,
and I remember
that's
Hall to say, we're going to commercial break. When they came back, dude wasn't on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
So they excused his ass out the,
Yeah, because that's like, no one
but
wants to
he
hear
was
that.
a killer.
Yeah, facts, though. It's like you don't really think about it.
Now,
like
you
that.
think about that, right? He could say that is nonchalantly for the right price. What separates him from, John Wayne Gacy?
Well, he,
The Zodiac killer who went around just shooting people.
Yeah.
David Berkowitz, he just shot people,
but
he didn't do it for a price.
He doesn't kill because he wants to. He kills because he's getting paid.
And I'm sorry, guys, it really has something to do with the whole sexual aspect of it.
I feel
There's a
that.
sexual deviation.
Yeah, for pay, and it's because that's why they're labeled in such a way. You got assassins, and you got.
So I come up with that
serial
Sigmund Freud analysis. It's always sexual.
the Oedipus complex.
Just all his whole motif. It was like at the end of it, which I do agree that there's certain, the gratification factor of a lot of things that humankind does. There's a component to that, to impress and peacocking, as it were. We're not peacock birds, but we can build rockets and all these fantastic things. Hey, baby, guess what I did today? I built the rocket. You know what I'm saying?
No
Hey,
cap.
baby, guess what I did today? Blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And vice versa, in modern times, women doing the same shit. But getting back to the whole serial killer gratification aspect of it, I don't personally know of any videos that I can recall right now. Shaw, you remember that thing Faces of Death years ago? There was an assassin that was on that show, and he spoke from that, I get paid for it. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like, it's like that's the only people on this planet that in our minds we allow for the idea that they're people hunters.
Yeah.
But there is a serial killer out there. I forget what this guy's name was, but he literally had an island where he would fly women out to it,
Reading my mind.
and hunt these women.
That's
you
fucking
know,
nuts.
And
I read a
he
book
was
about that.
he was an incredible hunter. Should I see if you can look him up right
Yeah,
quick?
there's a book about that.
And he was an
Yeah.
incredible hunter,
It was
but he got bored hunting animals,
It was-
so he went to the next level, humans. But for some reason, he had this female. He didn't like women, I guess, and he's hunting women.
I remember when I was a kid
Hey,
reading.
look at some of that, man.
I remember when I was a kid reading this book about like hunting people. I was
There's a
in
movie.
middle school.
There's a movie about it too.
Really?
Yeah.
Y'all remember
And
what
it
it's
was
called?
ba-
Hunter?
it was-
Is it Hunter Games? It's not.
There's a
Hunter.
game called Survivor that Ice-T's in, where Charles S. Dutton and all them, they're hunting them and shit.
It's
yeah.
it's an old movie though. It's like there's an island and this guy's in a house. It's like when you see Dracula, like the black
that
and white.
kind of- yeah.
It was like that kind of movie. I remember watching that movie in school.
Man, the movie I'm talking about, man, poor Ice-T, right? His character, he's a homeless man in the movie, and he's down and out. And his only friend is this old white homeless guy that he hangs out with on the street. But he's just down and out, and you kind of see this part of his life playing out and everything. And Charles S. Dutton his character is working at some sort of facility that helped the homeless and this and that and that and the other. And he's passing them every other day and seeing them, and he finally kind of stops and kind of figures this guy's got some smarts about him, and he starts talking to him and this and that, and he's like, well, man, if you're ever interested in getting your life together, here's my card.
Yeah.
So IT takes his card, and things play out throughout the movie, and then eventually he decides he's going to go ahead and call him after a few things play out. Calls him, sets it up, he meets up with the guy. The music is all, he's getting his life together kind of music, the montage of him, not doing drugs and working out. And there's Charles S. Dutton, his buddy. Man, look, we're going to take you out. Me and my buddies, we love going hunting out in the woods and stuff like this. You need to come out there with us and da-da-da. He's all jazzing it up. Yeah, because by this time, the happy music, da-da-da-da, you help me. This is cool. So he, I have a job and a life again. And like now he's out in the woods. great dinner that night. They're eating, talking it all up, da 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 da. He goes to bed and stuff. You know, the next scene, he's waking up. And Charles is stuck to them, like all like pressuring him to get up and like coaxing him to leave and stuff. Yeah, they had a gun on him, telling him he need to go, get the hell up out of bed, no. Essentially, he was the mark, and he realized that in the moment.
That's fucking
Human hunting refers to human being hunted and killed. These have been historical incidents of the practice of being carried out during times of social upheaval. A 2016 report by Daniel Wright, senior lecturer in tourism, and blah, 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 predicts
Hunger Games.
the hunting of the poor will become a hobby of the super rich in a future plagued by economic and ecological disasters.
The fucked up part is, I like it,
Hunger Games.
I could see that shit. Like, honestly, that's
What's that
fucking
thing
crazy.
that woman would say? May your
May the odds ever be.
yeah, may the odds forever be in your favor. Oh,
that's
man.
such a good movie.
And the way they were dressing, think about the way we dress now. We are wearing skinny jeans, and they were wearing all that type of shit. And, you know, guys are wearing makeup. And remember, that's how they were on it. Like, we are becoming that society.
Shit's fucking
Oh, no, y'all. Hunger Games. We're going to be a society of serial killers.
Hey, can I,
The Most Dangerous Game. That's the movie I'm thinking of. It's funny. I looked up movies about hunting people, and it says the first thing that popped up said 10 most amazing movies about hunting people.
That's a weird word to put there. Amazing.
I'm not gonna bring it up right now, but remind me, like, towards the end of the episode to bring up something that I wanted that I think you and Shy will get a kick out of.
Oh, okay. Well, as far as like staying on the deeper pattern on the serial killer thing, because we don't want another episode to get past where we feel like we didn't touch on things.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I was wanting to kind of, touch on the idea that we kind of was talking about before, like what do we think makes it tick, and like Shai kind of opened up the conversation about it being a sexual deviation or a gratification reward factor, perhaps. I think personally, it's also. I think it's that as well as the idea of being like cunning in their mind, like I can get away with it, and that also being a gratification that probably gets their rocks off in some kind of way too.
I wouldn't say H.H. Holmes had a sexual reason behind killing people. I think
we don't know if he was masturbating behind those doors when everybody was like, oh, excuse the visual there. I'm sorry.
See, we just zoomed in on Bill doing
Oh, Lord have mercy. Having it in slow motion. Got him giving them ideas now, man.
Yo, that's the fucking internet age, bro. It's like the meme culture is fucking
I know, but there's going to be a meme of that out there. If I'm ever famous, there's so many crazy pictures of me. Oh, the first early episodes, I've told Hunter, I'm like, Hunter, please select other pictures, because like Hunter was just trying to get that shit uploaded. And for some reason, I was always frozen. I'm like, man, what the hell is my gesturing? I mean, I know I'm an animated person, but it always caught me in mid. The one with Jeff Calloway is the worst one, man. I'll even encourage y'all, go to what episode was that?
I'll have them all put up on screen, don't worry.
Prepare for this face on the thumbnail. Like, oh my God. And I'm sure if, someone's going to make that a meme one day in my life.
And see,
oh my, that's just so fucking
I believe
funny.
it's been taken out because Bill asked me to. But the very first episode, we started before, and Bill scratching his junk. I was like, taking it out.
No, what got me, it wasn't so much that. Hunter told me his grandmother watched it. And I'm like, nope, cut that scene out of there now. And now she's our sponsor, one of our sponsors. Like, no,
this is a different grandma.
That's actually our great grandma.
Great grandma, yeah.
Great! Could have gave that woman a heart attack. Man, see what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, y'all. So, anybody got any, what do we think motivates serial killers?
Well, I have to say this really quick. I'm going through here, and yeah, the majority, I would say 99%, but we do have Ted Kaczynski.
There was no
He
sexual
was more,
deviation.
yeah.
There was no up close and personal gratification of
These are the most
slaughtering his
notorious
kill.
USA.
Right.
Yeah.
See, he's the slippery slope, because it's like, well, this guy was in a cabin.
What
You know what I'm
was
saying?
wrong?
In the middle of the woods. But we don't know to that. For all we know, like after he sent his bomb, he curled up in his goddamn bed in his cabin and popped off one and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say it's all. I would say a good majority.
There is some sexual components in it.
deviation, but I wouldn't say all of them are.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I was kind of taking it because honestly, that argument is hard to.
Why did Jack the Ripper kill his victims?
But look who he killed. He killed prostitutes.
But-
So there was some sort of
But there was no evidence that he.
like raped them or anything.
It is
That's a
believed that
slippery
Jack the
slope
Ripper
there.
killed his.
But see
because his
now,
mother
what
was a
some people would,
prostitute.
yeah, and then some people said, just as a moral high
The
ground.
Oedipus
Yeah.
complex.
You know what I'm saying? And, and as a moral high ground too, as it were, like killing prostitutes, because there's some killer that was like that out there that they said it was like a remnants of a Jack the Ripper type, where he was killing prostitutes because he thought they were low lives.
That's kind of like that.
And I mean that's what he sells. I mean it could be a whole other thing. For all we know, he was rejected by a prostitute, and then
They
boom,
lie
there
all
they
the
go.
time. They tell you they've killed hundreds of people and they can really only prove this.
Or
They
even
really don't know.
their motivations. The only time I think it's sincere when it's someone like a Jeffrey Dahmer and you actually done captured him and can put him before a camera like we did, and he tells
Evidence in the
mean,
evidence.
And he
from the
tells
story.
you-
Ted Bundy too.
but and tell you from a place that it's not exaggerated. Everything he's saying, we know about the crimes, and he gives you some extra little deets or something.
Even
but
Eileen Warren knows.
yeah, Eileen, though, I think really wanted people to look at her as a victim, and wanted, I think, I mean, she owned up to her crimes, but I think she wanted the world to understand that I became this person because the world is corrupt, and that's bullshit to me. Because it's like, well, if that's the case, then we all have the potential to use the world as our alibi.
Yeah.
So-
You know what I'm saying? The world was mean to me, so I
Yeah.
wanted to slaughter people.
Yeah.
Like,
Bill,
come
that's
on.
why I can't think of the exact years after World War II. The not Geneva Convention, UN ruled that you can't make that excuse with anything.
Oh, really?
You can't say I was just following orders anymore. You can't say the
Oh
world was
yeah,
mean to me.
yeah. It was after. I think it was
It
after
was-
the creation of
because
the
it-
United Nations,
Because it was
which
because
was
of Hitler.
Yeah, that I was
Because
just
they
gonna
were-
say
I
that's
was
what.
following orders. That's
Mhm.
why I killed all the people.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
But
people got moral.
put yourself into that situation. Your girl has just left you. I would give you $3 million and make a girl love you again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Okay,
know.
I'm looking at this. What you're talking about, John Muhammad and Lee Boyd.
Oh yeah.
It was all about his wife. His wife didn't want him anymore. He went on this whole rampage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes.
The
what's his
Beltway
face?
sniper, I think
that
it's
tried to kill
snipers.
Reagan.
Is that what they were called?
He did it because he
I haven't
thought
seen that name.
what's her face loved her.
Because there was two of them. He had a younger
Yeah.
underling, that he took on as like a. They say he took him on like a son, but then they postulated it could have been more of a homosexual undercurrent thing or something. I don't know. I think certain people always try to throw that component in there to make it sexual sometimes when there's nothing sexual there. Sometimes it's just not sexual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Charles Manson, that wasn't sexual.
Sometimes they just kill to kill.
Yeah. I mean, Charles Manson, they were having like orgies at that ranch. So it
Yeah.
was not sexual.
Yeah,
They were
so
getting
that-
all the sex they needed.
yeah.
They would go out there and it was, Hunger Games, bloodthirsty, it wasn't about, I mean, when you can coax women to kill another woman who is pregnant and gut her to the point where you know what I mean?
and
Like, and
you
take her
have to
baby out
say
of her and all,
that-
man,
That's fucking.
how do you get in a woman's brain to do that?
And you have to say that he was getting something out of it, whatever it was. You know what I mean? What the power or whatever
power
it was.
trip.
He was getting something out of telling those people what to do.
That was another element I was going to
And
go
then
into it, the
controlling
authoritarian thing.
women at
Yeah,
that.
the
The
control.
majority of them, it was
'Cause
what,
that's what
one
they say
guy
ab-
really that
Mm-hmm.
did the killing?
Tex or whatever that
Yeah,
guy's
but
name
they
was,
were
the
majority
enforcer.
Women.
But you think about like Charles Manson, for example, or like I mean maybe I don't know this, but like what if he like if you feel the need to have power over somebody, you probably felt that you had lack of power in your life, so now you feel like you need to have that to feel good
That's
about
usually
yourself.
the case. I mean, in the case of Manson, felt powerless a lot. He was a small man, and he was thrown around in orphanages and the system, blah blah blah. But I'm careful to excuse their behavior because of that.
No, but
because
if
that's the motive. But like say in the case of rape, where that's the same scenario where the rapist could easily say, well, they were touched on a lot by, older people in their
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Oh, my daddy or uncle or something touched on me and did these things to me. So, I became a sexual deviant. I didn't understand. I wasn't introduced to it properly. And it's just like, yeah, motherfucker, but no matter what you say about that, that gave you no right to rape whatever women you raped.
Yeah, facts. No
Because there's plenty of people out here with that kind of drama.
Yeah, no cap.
It's surprising, maybe because it's the modern times and men are being more revealing of it, younger men in particular, like 30 and down, but like men that are coming out about how they were touched.
Yeah.
See, that's a different twist.
Facts.
Usually when whoever it is that's coming out is some young woman or a woman in general or something. But now you got the young men that are coming out like, I was touched on, my daddy touched on me, or the pastor touched on me. The African Bambaataa. The rapper, man, some guy came out saying that, African Bambaataa touched on him when he was young.
that's
Now,
fucked up.
African Bambaataa, I ain't trying to shit on your name or nothing. I'm just talking about what's out there. We all know what's out there as far as in hip hop. Kevin Spacey, but his shit was like, he tried to appease that situation, so he kind of owned it, as it were, you know? I think like he offer the guy some money or
I
some
believe
shit
that
or
all the charges against him were dropped. Not to say that.
that's what I'm saying. I think it was some under the table type of, hey man, just please don't fuck my name up, which it pretty much is anyway. But
I still
people are
like
gonna
him
still.
as an
I was gonna
actor.
say
I
people are
mean,
gonna still watch Kevin Spacey movies.
But just to
just
take-
like people are gonna still watch the Cosby Show that still like Cosby and so on. And people are gonna still watch Weinstein movies, even though they may hate the fact that they see his name in the beginning of the trailer. But you're gonna watch a fucking Weinstein movie. You know what I mean?
Just to take it back to that
And not because of Weinstein, by the way.
that place you was asking about, like, why? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's kind of like always been the most interesting question with serial
Well, I
killers
put
to
that
me.
out there more in a rhetorical sense because we're not going to answer that, as
Yeah.
it were.
But
But
that's-
I want to talk about different components of the
Yeah.
whys because it's like Shai say, sexual. It's funny because that component, almost everything could be correlated back to that because the sexual component to it, that's the primordial human. Like that's at the root of us. It's like someone that that's right up. Like when you talk about a sexual drive, that's right up there with like being thirsty and hungry.
And I hate
like
to
that's some
say it.
innate shit that if that's a part of your drive.
It's usually, when the men are killing, they're usually killing women like that. They're not killing a bunch of men back to back to back. It's like 9, 15, 20 women.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
And like in the case
A
of
lot
Bundy, didn't a lot of those women he killed look like some prior woman that he had in his life? They had the
like
same
his mother.
brunette hair. No, it wasn't his mother. It was some other woman that was in his life where the women looked like this woman throughout his kills and shit.
If they do kill men, they're gay, like John Wayne Gacy.
And then the men that they kill are very subservient or on the
Weaker than them
fringes,
some kind of
and
way.
they're not it's like keeping on the DL and they can just disappear kind of guys. I mean a lot of the people that like Dahmer killed were guys that he could subdue once he sedated them and this and that and the other. They're really careful about it. I mean we don't see the serial killers like going up and killing some big buff motherfucker. Like, how many times have you seen someone the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger be the victim of a homicide? You know what I'm saying? The serial killers. There's always some, I'm not saying weak people, but people that are a little bit more susceptible or vulnerable to be caught up. You know what I'm
Or a
saying?
couple,
It's like-
Or even your manner. Like, I'm a small guy. I would love for one of you motherfuckers to think about it. I will slice your motherfucking neck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, shit. But you got to have that kind of gruff because they can feel that on the street.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the city,
They're
for example,
predators.
they're predators, and you walking down the street like, guess what? A motherfucker casing
Ready.
you. Look at that motherfucker.
God, he ain't gonna
You
see
walk
you
down the
coming.
street, motherfucker. Oh, try me, please. Yeah, no, you ain't getting tried too quick. And that's me walking down the street, goddammit. Tell all you serial killing motherfuckers, I will slice your motherfucking neck. Shit.
So I'm gonna put something on the screen and I'm gonna show you now. Hold on. If I can find. So this is essentially you do that like you walk with your head down, but you do this.
Yeah. That's what's up. Then pop up. Oh man, what was the old movie in RoboCop? In their future society and stuff. The movie had like futuristic commercials that would play in between the scenes, and one of the futuristic commercials was like some guy like breaking into a car. And then when he sat in the driver's seat to try to start it up, this thing like, came over in these metal rods and electrocuted him.
That's right.
And then this guy walks up and, it's the owner of the car. And then the things come off, the guy's all smoking, he just dumps the dead body. He's like,
fuck?
no more mess with the police. If someone breaks into your car, now you can get the, whatever it was, Electro 2000, you know what I'm
my
saying?
God.
And essentially saying like, yeah, you can murder people for trying to kill you, take your
Yeah,
car
that's
and
how
drive
bad it
off.
was.
But I'm like, that's funny because, as crazy as society is, we could go to a place like that.
Oh, man.
I mean, they do have some kind of, well, it's not nothing dangerous, but like these new cars, if someone like steals your car with these new GPS things, they can shut your car off. Like someone
yeah.
done stole your car, they're
Oh, big
riding,
car.
and you let the company know or something, and the motherfucker get cut off 10 miles away, and guess what? Can lock the doors. And the motherfuckers, unless they can break out some kind of way, but other than that, they're locked in until authorities come and get their ass. So
That's fucking genius.
you know what I mean?
I like that. I
and
get that
and
on my
there's
car.
no loss of life, there's no bloodshed,
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's awesome.
My friend has a BMW, and when he starts the car, there's this thing that he presses, and he pushes this button, and he has to have it on him because if I tried to drive the car, he was over there, the car would just stop. So you have to have that thing with you, so you really can't.
See, that's what I'm
steal
saying,
it.
man.
They
They're
can
up the
steal it for
game.
about 10 feet.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
But see, then what? Like, you really hadn't gotten away with nothing. You could get caught up, But see, when it comes to killers, man, the only thing we got is the Second Amendment, essentially. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what we got as American citizens. And even with that, it's slippery. Because, you have to prove that it was
That
a
it was
breaking and entering and
Yeah.
self-defense. What if it was a situation that played out hypothetically where the guy broke in, but you caught him just right then, and not only was he just a burglar, a B&E, but he was going to come in there to kill you.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker: you kill him before he can do anything. Now, when you make the complaint to the cop, now if you own the property, I think there's property rights and owner rights that you have that play in your favor. But like, say if you're renting the property or
Like,
something.
say if
what I'm
somebody-
getting to is how can you prove, or like if you knew he was there to kill you in some kind of form or fashion, he emoted it or said it in some kind of way, and you got to him beforehand, that's what you got as your evidence, and that's it. But as far as the cop, when he comes on the scene, it's like you prevented a B&E. I don't know if he's, unless they could track him to other killings and then triangulate the fact that from fingerprints that, oh, he's the guy we've been looking for or something. Like if you shot the Night Stalker like that, you know what I'm saying? Because look how the Night Stalker got caught. You remember them essays, kicked his ass out in broad daylight, trying to
And nothing
snatch a
happened
woman.
to him.
You know what I'm saying? But they beat the living shit out of him. I think his was one of the best captures because the street got him.
Yeah.
Some
Well, that's
gangsters
Richard
got hit.
Ramirez.
Yeah. The streets got his ass. Like, you cholos, mwah, muy bien.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, if somebody is broken in and say we're not here, somebody breaks in and they're like, for some reason looking through the book bag behind you, and I come into my house and he's clearly ruffling through my stuff. The door's wide open. He definitely broke in. I hit him with a baseball bat and kill him.
Yeah.
I hit him from behind.
Right. And see what the other side, how they will forever argue it, and it would probably mess you up in terms of like you not winning the case, would be that, oh, you could have had the individual turn around and subdued him, and that there were so many alternatives that they assume people think about in those moments. Those alternatives that they pose, that they can litigiously pose, legally pose, but it's just like, no one is that multi-dimensional. Someone comes in here right now, you're thinking just preservation of life. And
Like,
whatever those first thoughts are to preserve your life, you're not all multi-dimensional, like, maybe I should try to talk this individual down.
So
Maybe I should, you ain't thinking all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I have a baseball bat next to my bed just in case somebody comes into my house. If I see somebody walk into my room without me letting them in, I'm not thinking about it. I'm grabbing the bat and
Just
I'm hitting
bashing them. There ain't no questions. I feel you. Same here. I ain't gonna sit there and, trying to figure out who the fuck you are. It's like, no, you gonna get hurt. There would be blood probably. You know what I'm saying? And then when I cut the lights on, you try to explain. Oh, you were just robbing me. Well, that's still wrong, motherfucker. But at least you weren't trying to kill me. But you hurt for trying to rob me, you son of a bitch. You gonna stay right there until the law get here. Because I'm gonna hold him until the law get there. I ain't gonna let him go just because you're right. Nah, motherfucker, your ass going to jail tonight with fucking blood on your ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just straight up. Now, beyond that, I'm like this, say, with a gun. Now, same scenario, I got a gun on him. I'm not I'm not gonna just
your
shoot
first
first.
thought's not shooting. No.
That's, you know what I'm saying? And
So-
then I can subdue him. And I think in that argument where people talk about, motherfuckers may shoot somebody and then they don't get, their cases in shambles because they couldn't prove that it was self-defense, because they chose to shoot first because out of fear.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to consider, because it's like, well, if it is just a B&E, he may not have a weapon on him, or maybe his only tools on him is just the shit he used to break into my home, but he may not have a gun or a knife. I got a gun on him. If I use it, it fucks up my case a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
See,
I mean,
like something that a lot of people don't understand. I know it's kind of off topic, but like, for one, people say like, "Oh yeah, I'm put into the situation where I got my gun on a robber. I'm shooting him immediately." No, you don't know what you're gonna do, because a lot of people have been put in that situation and freeze because it looks like a human body, and they're like, "I can't do that." But even then, can you deal with taking a person's life?
that's exactly it.
Like if I were put in that situation, I'm not gonna shoot first, but if I am at harm, I'm shooting them in the kneecap.
Well, see, this is why I was kind of talking about what I was saying, like getting into the mind of these serial killers, because, that's the one thing that is eliminated from their nature.
And they're known to take things from their victims and relive the crimes to get that same
gratification over, like the trophy keepers,
The BTK kept their license.
So he can just constantly look at his, and this is, and so with that, right, it's just like, well, again, trying to separate those that do that from the people we were trying to say that, well, we know these people kill too, but they get paid for it, or there's some other ulterior, that's the word I'm looking for, ulterior motive for their shit. And it's just like, but couldn't you argue like getting paid is the gratification, and getting paid for murder, maybe it's not the murder itself, but the payment.
Like that.
When they
guy
deposit
who
that
said
money.
He didn't care. I'll kill a baby.
Yeah, but when he looks at his deposit, I'm sorry, I did the visual again.
The
But Bill,
gratification.
Ooh, you know what I'm saying? All them zeros. Damn.
there's this character, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Deadshot from the DC universe.
Oh yeah.
But he kills because he's good at it, but he doesn't keep the money. He gives it to his daughter.
So it's not for the money, but he still needs to flex his skill set. And that's his satisfaction. Like, I am the best marksman on this planet. I don't miss. You know what I'm saying?
John Riley will kill Deadshot.
Yeah, and if you're such a great marksman, why not turn that into a real legitimate job, sport?
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is the component of why I was trying to say, the mind of those that like to serial kill, and the fact that that's their thing. The person that likes to, take contracts for kills. It's just like, again, it's like the moment you decide to take contract for kills.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
You know what I mean? It's like you don't care about killing a human
dead
being.
inside of you.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, is that person just as dead inside, but maybe not as deviant as a Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy and the like, and so on.
They'll just shoot him through the head and be done.
And there's different levels to it too, because like, okay, David Berkowitz, he shot you, right? But he didn't eat you and have sex with your dead body. You know what I mean? It's just like, he said that he was hearing it from a freaking dog, and all this kind of shit, son of Sam, you know what I'm saying? Thought his dog was talking to him and shit like that. And his gratification was appeasing the dog. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so that gratification is mental. Like,
take it from, you're gonna take it to a fictional Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter, yeah, he ate his victims, but one of the big reasons he killed was to help the FBI agent Will Graham solve his cases.
Well, after he was caught initially, that became his thing. But now, when he was out there, I mean, we all know that Hannibal's thing, he loved the taste of people.
Yeah.
Like, he really loved eating humans. I mean, what was it, the second one at the very end on the airplane, that really disturbing scene where he gives a piece of that brain to that kid?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And the kid was hungry, So
You know, because they were on a plane and
There's
they eat
a-
them plain dishes, and then the kids all looking at him eating. Hey, would you like some?
There's a TV show that I
That's
recommend.
fucked up. That's
Hannibal Lecter,
See,
boy.
that's
Hannibal
convenient,
Lecter.
yeah.
It fed a little kid brains.
oh
If,
man.
if
That's
y'all
fucking
haven't
bad.
seen, and if I can find
Sorry for the
scene,
spoiler for whoever hadn't seen that.
I'm gonna put it up. There's this TV show called Hannibal about the years before. So like you see him in Silence of the Lambs.
I've seen that, yeah, with that younger guy.
But you see him there,
Yeah.
and he kills this girl, takes her lungs, I believe, because that's the way that the killer that they're looking for does it. He took their lungs because he was planning on eating them, but found out the girl had cancer. And then Hannibal Lecter took the lungs, chopped them up, cooked them up, and then served dinner to Will Graham, and it was the lungs.
Yeah. Oh, he did stuff like that. No, in one of the movies, Hannibal Lecter, man. Oh my God. In one of the movies, by the way, as a really fun tidbit, that character is created by a Mississippian. Thomas Harris is right from Meridian, Mississippi. Silence of the Lambs. Yes, we own that too. But at any rate, oh God, I lost my point. I'm sorry, y'all. What was that?
Hannibal Lecter
You
and
doing
what he
some
does.
crazy stuff? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So one of the crazy things he did, right? So he liked classical music. He liked going to the symphony. And in one of the movies, I can't remember which one.
he was a genius.
Yeah,
So
he
he
would
knew
go-
about music.
Yeah,
and-
his ear was just great. Yeah, so he's listening to the symphony and he loved everything except this one guy who was out of tune.
And he kills
So
him and eats him.
he kills this guy for being out of tune, and I think he served the guy to like the opera people or
That was
whatever
his
have
way
you.
of
You know what I'm
helping.
saying? But that like sense of humor with his murder. You know what I
Like
mean?
out of tune,
You know what I'm saying? It's like dude's out of tune. You're messing up the whole orchestra. I'm gonna kill you and eat you and serve you to your friends. Like, man, wow.
You look at Silence of the Lambs. and this
Matter of fact,
man-
now I want to watch Silence of the Lambs tonight on the late night. You know, damn.
But he's sitting there in a glass box listening to classical music, eating food.
It was a great artist, remember?
And then the man comes in and Hannibal Lecter just bites his nose off.
Oh, dude. Oh, you talking about his last escape?
Yeah, when he
Oh,
escapes.
yeah. Ready when you are, whatever that guy's name was. And guess what? That scene was in Memphis. I don't know if they actually shot it in Memphis, but it was in Memphis in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were he was in transit and they had him in Memphis and stuff like that because the girl that James Gum kidnapped was in Memphis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So freaking Hannibal, man. Goddamn.
I love the character of Hannibal Lecter. In my 9th grade year, I convinced my best friends that my original name was Hannibal.
Oh, see, now I'm thinking of all these other scenes. I got, since you seem like you hadn't heard and stuff, let me give you some other juicy tidbits. There's another one, right? Now, it was better in the book Hannibal that I read. You remember that was that book I read when me and you and Kit lived together and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, man, great book. That he kind of did it justice in the movie, but it was even better in the book. But the guy that, not him. It was another FBI guy that was following him around and stuff like this. And he thought that matter of fact, I think Ray Liotta plays him in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And he's thinking that he's one-upping Hannibal Lecter and stuff like this.
He
this, that, and
always
the
thought
other.
he was really smart.
So he gets him in this situation where he got him and Clarice like essentially all sedated and tied up in this like kitchen. And he's got dudes sitting there and he's all kind of out of it. And Hannibal Lecter puts this, one of those entree, what you call it with the thing, when they reveal it and stuff. He puts one of those down and he's like, yeah, we're going to have dinner tonight. And they're both all like, they're both all sedated, like, what we're having, what are we gonna have? Yeah. And he's like, he said it like it's a French way for tout. He said it like that, but it was essentially brains, you know what I'm saying, in French or something like this. And so the dude's just like, and then he lifted up the thing, and I think it was everything but the actual dish. He's like, Ray Liotta, he was all drugged up by this stuff. Where is it? Where's the brains? And so there was something over his head. He takes off his head. And Hannibal had already created an incision right here all the way across. He had already done it pre-hand, like when he was anesthetic, under anesthesia. Just removes the top part of his skull. The dude's still alive. Starts picking pieces out of his brain and putting it on the entree. Gives one of the plates to Clarice, but she
She almost
like she's repulsed by it, almost throws up and stuff. And then he's sitting there. He starts eating it.
No fucking way.
And he said,
Because he's all messed up
this
on
is
drugs.
good.
Yeah, he's like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my God.
It's like he gave him a frontal.
Yeah, we brought it back on
lobotomy.
topic really heavy, like, didn't we?
It's like he gave him a frontal lobotomy because he was still able to talk. And
Yeah, he was
function.
able to formulate and use his stuff. But you remember towards the end, he was getting really bad. He was like drooling, and you remember he like,
well, he
you
gave him
know,
some more drugs.
yeah, and then he eventually carted him away because I think he was like on a wheelchair or something. But devious.
Yeah.
But you know, in the movies, they can go to them kind of places.
Okay, so I have to say this really quick. Not that I'm making any kind of excuses for them, but with Hannibal Lecter, and I don't know with these people, because some of them had actually really good childhoods and lives and families. But you remember what happened to
Oh
him?
yeah, Lecter's is messed up, man.
He had to eat his sister?
Well, no. You gotta give it justice, right? So their family was during World War II, I believe. Okay, his family got killed by the Nazis and shit. You know, it was like they was doing all these prequel montage back scenes of his life and stuff to kind of explain him and everything. There's actually a whole movie about
Hannibal
him.
Rising.
Yeah, Hannibal Rising. I got that one, and it explains his old come up. Okay, so I forget these soldiers. They weren't Nazi soldiers, but they were transit soldiers from the country where he was from, somewhere there in Europe. I forget where he was from. But anyway, they were like ragamuffin mercs that were off the beaten path of the original like units and such, and they just kind of had this merc unit kind of thing, hardcore guys. So essentially, Hannibal Lecter and his little sister, they get orphaned because their parents are killed off, but they weren't discovered by the Nazis or whatever. So they're just living alone in this big ass house. So these guys come through. They realize they can take this house over because it's just these little kids. Now Hannibal's a little kid. He's trying to fight them off, but he's a little kid. They just throw him off to the side and they just take over, but they don't kill the kids off.
And she was really little.
Yeah, she was a little girl, like 4 or 5 years old. I forget what her name was, but like in a rate, they were going hunting, but then hunting got really scarce. They couldn't find animals out there. They could hardly eat and stuff. There wasn't nothing eating in the house, and so these guys are. I mean, they're like famished, starving, and there's a scene that's really like morbid. They look up and Hannibal and his little sister, they're looking down at him, and they look up at him with
They were trying to figure out
hunger
what to do.
in their eyes, like they were looking at them the way we look at a steak, like and it kind of and then they didn't show, because at that moment you don't know who, you assume they're going to get both, but then somewhere down the line it plays out and it shows them eating soup, but then you see Hannibal, so it's assumed that they didn't get the kids because you see him, and the whole movie plays out until like towards the end, where he was going on this whole rampage of going and finding people in that unit when he became a man, after he became a killer, and was killing them all one by one. It was like 7 of them or some shit. Mm-hmm. So when he gets to the last guy, the guy starts describing that scene, and he says something about, yeah, you ate my sister. And he's like, so did you. And it just like fucked him up because, then he started having flashbacks of him enjoying the soup and stuff like this, and wasn't even thinking about his sister and shit because he was starving too.
Damn.
And reminded him, because he suppressed that memory. He suppressed it. He didn't want to remember that. Something that, if I ate my sister, I ain't trying to remember that shit. You know what I'm saying? And, so he suppressed it, but dude reminded him right then and there. And, the crash. I forget what her name was, like Ellie
Like
some kind of name. Mishka, yeah. Misha. And the moment he said that, he peeled dude's shirt open and he started carving her name in his chest. And the Hannibal that we know was, like, he was already killing, but that moment it was like, he ate his sister. He's not ever going to be rehabilitated. It's over. But the irony is, that's the young him. He still becomes the great doctor that we know him to become in the later movies that start telling his story that we are more familiar with, Silence of the Lambs and all those kind of stories.
It's like
Red Dragon,
As much as you hate Hannibal for what he does, he was a great psychiatrist.
Well, that's why the FBI was working with him. Mm-hmm. Now think about that. They got all these psychiatrists out there, but they got to go to the FBI prison. And Lecter, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's still the best.
He's the only one who was a killer.
Yeah, and actually could give you that extra insight.
And that one of those people, they were his patient or something like that, so he could give some insight about.
No, well, yeah, but
the one they found in the
the cross dresser, the one where they missed Tophet, but it was an anagram for "miss the rest of me" or something, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But you remember Clarice figured that out and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs and stuff. And that was a patient of him, a Rumsfeld or something like that. And he was like, because as he was explaining that guy, he was explaining to Claire Reese how James Gum was kind of like that. It's just like James Gum wasn't a true transgender person or something. Like he was confused or something.
Yeah.
It was some
That's
weird
why the
shit.
doctors wouldn't let him go through
Yeah,
surgery.
the John Hopkins
Yeah.
things. Yeah, and that kind of made him go into a freak out mode, and then he kind of, he became, James Gum, the motherfucker we know. That was the first time I ever heard that name. I've heard James, but it was James.
Yeah, that's
Put
weird.
that S on
Well,
that
you
motherfucker,
remember
man.
they made a
James.
mistake on his birth certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said James or James Gum. Oh, and that scene was beautiful. At any rate.
As we bring this episode to an end, I want to say one thing. If you are interested in like the minds of serial killers, I'm going to recommend 2 shows. One is called Prodigal Son, and it's about a son of a serial killer who becomes a profile for the FBI to stop other serial killers. And you really get to learn like reasons why serial killers can do some of the things. And the aforementioned show Hannibal, it's another one. It like gives you a mind into like serial killers and what they do.
And a book that I remember getting from the library, but the libraries are not open now, but The Confessions of Cheryl Perry is another one that y'all should get. It gives you some real deep insight. That Ali Warnos, Cheryl Perry,
It's some pretty
man,
deviant.
deviant. And for her,
Sick.
it was to do with candy. That was her whole thing, candy.
And gummy bears. It
And
was
gummy
kinda weird.
bears?
I gotta say one thing too. Is Hannibal profound or deep?
He is neither.
He's not. Well, but Lecter.
But Lecter is
deep.
deep. But
Lecter
Lecter is deep.
Okay.
And we're going to get into that next time. What is profound and what is deep? All right, y'all. Thank y'all for.
He has to say something. Then I got one rapid.
Oh,
fire
okay.
question.
All right.
I know you really like Marilyn Monroe. I know you love UFOs.
Yes.
Right? All right. So I was watching this. I watched the Marilyn Monroe movie, and then my girlfriend Tori, she wanted to watch a documentary, so we watched Marilyn Monroe Declassified. And y'all had mentioned about JFK, and it talks about that and how not only was the CIA had wiretaps in Marilyn Monroe's house, but the mafia did too.
Wow.
And the day that she was killed, at least according to the documentary, Robert Kennedy was there. You know what I'm saying? And the mafia was trying to set him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they shot, they did an enema on her with the drug. That's why there was no dye in her stomach, because Kennedy had told Marilyn that he was going to Roswell and that there was UFOs and aliens there. And this came out in the CIA documents, and then next thing you know, Marilyn Monroe's dead.
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, that's
No,
wild.
I mean, I love that one, man. Oh my God, that is great.
Yeah, that's pretty
Damn, Scooby, you should have
wild.
busted that on the conspiracy show. That's a great one, man.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be on fucking YouTube tonight. Man, check out some videos of that shit. Yeah. All right, so and now you got something.
So rapid fire it is October. It is the spooky month. What are we gonna be for Halloween this year?
Aha.
I think I'm gonna be a nurse.
Interesting, Shai.
But that's for one thing. I think I'm really gonna be Vera X Prime.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna be 2 things.
There's actually going to be a show we was talking about maybe
Yeah.
dressing a character like that.
So
Yeah.
I do gotta say on the 28th, we are not hosting the show. We have Vera X Prime, Von Tallis, I
Yes,
believe,
Von
is taking
Tallis.
Bill's place.
Yes.
Agent Marty Blake is taking Scooby's place, and John Riley is taking my place to host the Halloween episode.
And that's from the cast of They Found Me Vengeance, which probably, by the time we do that, it will be out in conjunction with that episode. So, stay tuned for that one. All right. Oh,
What
and
are you gonna be
but
for
then Halloween. Oh man, I really don't know. I would like to be someone. I hadn't thought it out just completely yet. So I'm on standby, y'all.
I'll be Forrest Gump, and my girl gonna be Jenny.
Jenny.
I'm gonna be this unknown person. Nobody's ever heard of him. His name's Scooby the Kid. I'm gonna get a long wig.
I'm gonna sell out the gardens. I hope God give me pardon. Indeed. All right, well, look, y'all, I guess we are now at the conclusion of this episode. Glad you guys have watched this one and hope that you've enjoyed yet another episode of Bridging the Gap with Bill, Shy, Scooby, and Mac. And Abigail.
She's back from her
She
CIA
is back,
operation
but
in
she's just been
Cancun.
chilling. This is all she want to do tonight.
Don't say about it, biatch.
Woo! Got a little sassiness with her this evening too. But yeah, you guys stay tuned for some other episodes we got coming underway. We got some great episode concepts in mind, so y'all stay tuned for all of them.
And get ready for the set to start getting Halloweenified.
Halloweenified. Indeed.
And also make sure y'all get tuned in and tapped into all the social medias. I'm at
yes.
Scooby the Kid 252 at Chef Mac 1523 at OSOShy11 at Bill_Perry and at Bridge the Gap 77.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe and healthy. Make sure to keep practicing the protocol.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Take showers.
Take showers in general. Just clean your ass.
Damn, the mouse is over there. Hey, it's Chef Mac here at the end of the episode. I just want to apologize for this episode being late. I know if y'all follow the Facebook page, I said that it would be out a day late. Now it's a week late. The internet on my entire street has been down for it was about 3 days, and we all talked together and said, "Screw it, we'll skip an episode and move it to this." But I just wanted to apologize for it not being normally what it is. Like, I know I said I was going to put a few things in there and zoom in on something or something another, but I didn't. Being a little lazy, I know that's kind of a bad thing to say, but my focus is on the next two, which are already recorded, because, as you can see, I have a haircut from me. I'm looking at the screen, but I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the normal things I tell you to do. Not that I'm making you do it, but I just wanted to explain kind of the reasons why these episodes are late, and see you next week. Next week is At the Movies Horror Edition. You're going to like that one. And then the week after, Halloween. And you guys are going to love that one, I can tell you. I've been working on editing them too, or about to start working on editing them too. But I've got weeks to do this. I've got 5 hours to do this one. So I'll see you next time.